Lists of items in BigWave are shown in grids. The great thing about grids is they all work the same, so learn how to use one and you are set. This video covers how to use grids and any nuances associated with them. The Projects tab on my home page is active. On the right, I have a list of all projects in my system, which are shown in a grid. Many grids, when clicked, cause a detail page to open. Here, I click Philips Conoco Rollout, and that project page opens to the Site Tracking tab. This grid shows all the work orders I have in this project. If the grid can be sorted on a header, the cursor will change to a hand. Click a column header to change the sort. This grid is showing 15 items out of 301 total. Since there are more items than what can be shown in a single view, the grid is paged. Navigate the pages of the grid by adjusting the slider, by clicking the previous and next buttons, or by using your left, right, or up and down keyboard buttons. Below the gear on each grid is an option to export the data to Excel. The exported grid will contain all rows from the results, in this case 301, with the columns you are viewing. A grid can show multiple views. By default, every grid has a default view, but you can create more views to suit. Let's create a couple of views that show work order custom field values in a logical grouping. Hover over the gear and choose Create. Enter shipping for the name of the view, choose the fields, and click OK. Create one more view called Pump Information. Now I can flip between the three views I have for this grid. You might be thinking, how might this affect other users? Let's take a look at that. In this browser, I am logged in as B. Baskfield. In a separate browser, I am logged in as C. Blankenship. You can see C. Blankenship doesn't have access to the views B. Baskfield just created. In many cases, this is desirable and enables each user to curate their own views. However, there are times when a particular view should be seen by all. B. Baskfield can choose the Share View option to make his views available to all. Now, since it's been shared, C. Blankenship has the new views available to him, as do all other users that come into this project. Only admin users are able to change the default view settings. Notice the default view does not show invoice numbers. Since B. Baskfield is an admin user, he can change the default view to include the invoice number. Now, C. Blankenship sees the invoice number on his default view. However, C. Blankenship isn't an admin user. If he tries to modify the default view, BigWave will instead create a user view for him, leaving the default view unchanged. Notice the user view 1 just created. After this has been created, I can modify it to a more suitable name, or I can delete it. Sometimes clicking the row will invoke an edit dialog. Here on the Project Alerts grid, when I click a row, I get an edit dialog instead of going to a new page. On the grid that displays login roles, clicking the row shows an edit dialog to change the name. This grid shows another type of clickable element. Clicking these links shows different dialogs for the same row. A final nuance you will see is embedded checkboxes. Here is a report that shows all document uploads for a given time period. From here, you can change the visibility directly on the documents versus changing the visibility by opening each individual work order.